Hi, welcome back. It's day 3. I'm so proud of you for sticking with it. So awesome. We'll be in our third day of reading in Genesis. So today we're going to read Genesis 8 through 11, and I'm going to start in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you so much for the privilege and opportunity to gather together in your word, Lord. And I just pray that your words would be heard and that they would land on the hearts of everyone listening, and that you would just help us to understand you and your nature better by the time spent in your beautiful word. And we just praise you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, Genesis 8. And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month, and in the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened a window of the ark that he had made, and he sent forth a raven which went to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. So he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her feet, and she returned unto him in the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand and took her and pulled her into him unto the ark. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came to him in the morning, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew the waters were abated from off the earth. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not yet again unto him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, in the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. So remember, he went on to the ark in his 600th year, and now this is his 601st year. So the waters fell above and below. I guess they fell from above and came up from below for 40 days and 40 nights, and the mountains were covered, and then it takes a whole year for everything to dry up. Isn't that crazy? And in the 2nd month, and the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. And God said unto Noah, saying, Go forth out of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee, and bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all the flesh of the both of the fowl and of the cattle, and of every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, every beast, every creeping thing, every fowl, and whatsoever creeped upon the earth after their kinds went forth out of the ark. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Remember, he took 2 of the unclean and 7 of the clean, because he was going to, there will be enough to repopulate the earth, and enough to have a burnt offering. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor, and the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Genesis 9. My thing will go. Go. There we go. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto him, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. They're told to spread out and go replenish the earth, and they don't listen. We're going to find that out in a minute. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, and upon all that moves upon the earth, and upon the fishes of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. We had a question on Wednesday about dinosaurs and whether they lived with humans, and this just struck me. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth. This appears to be a change post-flood. I think before the flood that the animals and humans maybe got along because of this verse. In Isaiah, which we'll get to later, it does say that the beast and the people will get along. Like a baby will even be able to stick their hand in the nest of a snake or run around with lions and they won't be afraid. So I wonder if before the flood, if, everyone got along because everyone was vegetarians, but now things change post flood. I'm just curious. I don't know. It was an idea that I had that came to mind as I was reading that. Every moving thing that lives shall be meat for you, even as the green herb I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, you shall not eat. And surely your blood of your lives I will require at the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheds man's blood, by his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God made he man. Which is an interesting verse, and that's still like eye for eye, tooth for tooth. If you kill somebody, then you are taken out. That's very biblical, back to like Genesis 9. And you shall be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. And God spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, behold, I will establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl and of the cattle and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by waters of a flood. Neither shall there be any more a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth, the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the water shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And that's a covenant that God is making. God made this covenant with the earth and with all of us who are on the earth. Whenever you see a rainbow, it's a reminder that God has promised not to destroy the earth by rain, by floodwater again. There will be some things coming in tribulation that we'll get to way, way later. But by rain, the earth will not be destroyed again. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. And the sons of Ham that went forth of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine, and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it over their shoulders, and went backwards, and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backwards, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brother. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So, this is an interesting story. Tara-Leigh does a really good job with it. I heard one interpretation that was the way Noah knew that Ham had seen him was when he awoke, because his other two sons came in backwards, they would have laid something on him that wouldn't have been his own. So he would have woken up and been like, ooh, I don't feel too good. And why is someone else's clothes on me? And ask. And they would have said, well, Ham came out and told us what he saw. And that would have been very shameful for you to make fun of your father in that way. And so he curses the son of Ham. And one of the questions I had was, why did he curse Canaan and not Ham? Because when you curse someone, the curse actually is a reflection on the father. So by cursing his grandson, the reflection was on Ham as opposed to being a reflection on himself. That supposedly was a cultural thing in the day. It was something I always wondered. Just sharing. Anyway, Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and then he died. Oh, I just saw this. He lived the exact same amount of time as Adam, which is super interesting. Also interesting, he lived after the flood 350 years. Imagine being the person who came through the flood, him and Shem, and Shem lived up until the time of like Abraham, I believe. He lived a long time. Don't quote me on that. But he lived a really long time. And so both of these guys who went through the flood were the preachers of righteousness on the earth, and people could have gone up and spoken to them just the same as they could have Adam. Like Adam got kicked out of the garden. He had Shem at 100 at age 130. So we know, was he in there 100 years? I don't know the answer to the questions, but sometime, you know, before Cain and Abel were born, he got kicked out of the garden. But he lived another 800 something years on the earth, and the witness and the testimony he could have had was completely crazy. And people are still doing all these evil things. It just shows no matter what God does, some people are just not going to listen to him. It's crazy to me. Oh, he's such a good God. All right, Genesis 10. Now these are the generations of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. Some of these names we'll see later. Gog and Magog, they come up in Ezekiel. It's believed to be like Europe, Eastern Europe. Gomer, Magog, Tubal, I think is Turkey. So and Togarmah, I think is Turkey. So and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphtah, and Togarmah. So I believe that Japheth were the people when they all get scattered after the Tower of Babel, which we'll read about in a minute. They ended up getting sent to Europe and kind of Asia Minor, I think is where this group of people went. Sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kedem, and Dodanam. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, and in their nations. And the sons of Ham were Cush, Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim, we'll see later, being referred to as Egypt. So Egypt came from Ham. Cush, which is Ethiopia, Put, Canaan, which we're going to hear a lot about Canaan. And the sons of Cush were Sheba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, Sabteka, and the sons of Ramah were Sheba, which the queen of Sheba, she comes from Ethiopia, and Dedan. And Cush begat Rimrod, and he began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, whereof it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. And out of that land went forth Asher, which will be the Assyrians, and built Nineveh, which later Jonah is going to Nineveh and Assyria when he gets taken in by the whale. All these towns are going to come up a lot. And the city of Rebath and Calah and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, the same as the great city. And Mitzrayim begat Ludim and Anamim. I've just butchered these names. I'm sorry, y'all. Lahibim and Naphtuhim and Pathrushim and Kalshuhim, which out of whom came the Philistine, which are the Philistines, and Caphtorim. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth. So we're going to read about the Hethites later, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Archivite, and the Zamorite, and the Hamathite. And afterwards were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. We're going to read a lot of these names later. The Amorite, the Jebusite, the Girgashite. They are devil worshippers and idolaters and do not believe in God. And God is going to have a lot to say about them later. And the borders of the Canaanites from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar, unto Gaza. You hear a lot about the Gaza Strip. That's where the Philistines were located. As thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, and even unto Lasha. We usually hear about Sodom and Gomorrah, but there were actually 5 towns that God was going to destroy. But one of them, Lot will beg to be not destroyed. We'll learn about that a little bit later, but there's actually like a whole list of cities, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and those are all destroyed with the event that will happen later in Genesis. These are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues and their countries and in their nations, unto Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the father of Japheth, the elder, even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. And the children of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. And Arphaxad begat Shelah, and Shelah begat Eber. And unto Eber were born two sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided. I believe that that would have been during the Tower of Babel. And his brother's name was Joktan, and Joktan begat Almadad, and Shelpha, and Harmazaveth, and Jirah, and Hadaram, and Uzal, and Diklah, and Obal, and Abiel, Meel, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. These were the sons of Joktan. And their dwelling was from Mesha, as thou goeth unto Shepher, a mount of the east. And these are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. These are the families of Noah after their generations in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. And this is our second long list of the people. So we had Adam and his whole list, and now we've got Noah and his whole list, and then we'll have Abraham and his whole list. This will be important when you get to the genealogy of Jesus, especially in Luke 3, because you'll be able to go all the way back and you'll see that it started with Adam, which is really cool. I love that stuff. All right, so 11. This is our last one for today. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, Go, let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad on the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained for them which they have imagined to do. Come, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the whole earth, and they left off to build the city. So my question, the Lord scattered them abroad. I've always wondered, because people will say, and you'll see evidence in science, that there has been a, what do they call it? The continental shift, the continental divide. If you look at the continent on a globe, you can almost see like it looks like it kind of fits together like a big old puzzle at one point. So did God create it as like one big massive square kind of thing, and then it got divided? And the flood, which we just read about yesterday, when the earth was clave apart from underneath, or did he scatter them at this Tower of Babel? I don't know the answer. The Bible isn't clear, but I've always just wondered this could have been, one of the other times when this continental divide happened. I always love when you see something in the Bible that helps explain how modern science explains things. Do you know what I mean? So there's usually a biblical explanation for a lot of things, which I'll kind of point them out as we go along. So you can take it for what it's worth. It's what I see. It's obviously read the Bible, but I'm just pointing out a few little things here and there in hopes that you find it interesting. Therefore, the name of it is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of the whole earth, and from thence did God scatter them abroad from the face of the whole earth. Babel, I'm pointing this out now because Babel, this is the first Babylon. And Babylon is going to come up a lot. Babylon can be a false religious system where people are worshiping other gods other than God. It can also be a financial system, and it comes up a lot throughout the whole history. There was actually King Nebuchadnezzar runs a country called Babylon, which right now is wiped out, but is going to end up coming back, and we'll talk about a lot in Revelations when we get to it. But this is the start of it. So it was a false religious system where they were building something to try to create their own worship system and to be their own gods instead of actually listening to God, and he wasn't honored by it. And so he said, all right, well, since I told you to go and replenish the earth, like he told him, Shem, and Japheth, and they didn't do it, I'm going to force you to go replenish the earth and mess up your language. So you have to actually do what I said. Kind of cool. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old, and he begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years, and he begat sons and daughters. So you can see here, Shem lived another 500 years after the flood. Noah lived 350, and Shem lived 150 years past him. I believe he was there past Abraham. I think he was there even during Isaac and Jacob. I believe that is the case. So he lived a good long time after the flood and would have been there to educate people and talk to them about this event that took place. I just think that's so cool. Arphaxad lived 5 and 30 years, and he begat Shelah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Shelah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and begat Eber. Shelah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Ru. And Peleg lived after he begat Ru 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Ru lived 32 years and begat Serug. And Ru lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and he begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 9 and 29 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in the Ur of Chaldees. And Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, the father of Iscah. But Sarah was barren, and she had no children. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, and his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with him from the Ur of Chaldees to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So there we go. We have the genealogy of Abraham, and we're going to take a brief pause and go into the book of Job, which is going to be really fun. So we'll start Job tomorrow, but I hope you're enjoying it so far and learning a lot. We are on Genesis 11, and there's 50 chapters in Genesis, so we're already cranking along. So good job. I'm so proud of you. Come back tomorrow, and we will continue on, God willing. Bye. See you soon.